All right, we're getting set up. We're gonna get rock and rolling in just a second. I can pop up the podcast recording part of it, and then we'll get this thing. Let's ignore this for the day, and then yes, very late. I'll explain why we're late, and it'll be a short podcast tonight because I don't have much to talk about because I get spilt milk. But let's get this puppy started. Thank you so much for joining Spazzing Out, America's podcast. The new tagline for the podcast is America's podcast. This is Spazzing Out, America's podcast. It's your podcast, America. This is your podcast, plain and simple. So from now on, I may refer to the podcast as America's podcast. I may refer to it as Spazzing Out, America's podcast, or just Spazzing Out. But from now on, whenever I try to talk about the podcast, I'm going to say you are listening to Spazzing Out. This is America's podcast. Spazzing Out, America's podcast. Why is it your podcast? Why is it America's podcast? Because we, the people, the fans, the listeners, and everybody that follows me on social media, including myself, we love this country. We are everything red, white, and blue. We are everything that's great about this country. We believe in the American dream. We believe in hard work, and we love this country. And it's your podcast, and I believe I represent the everyday American. I believe I am more American than America. I believe that I represent this country as a whole, and I represent you guys, so it's your podcast, America, and that's it from now on. Boom, done. Spazzing Out, America's podcast. I like it. It's very American. You like that? America's podcast. Very, very bold for me to claim. It's like getting up to the moon and I put the American flag on the moon. I'm like, boom, baby, this is America's podcast. America, USA. Because everything we talk about here is America, and we love this damn country, and that's it. Boom, done. Woo! Great! America. Okay. Subscribe to the podcast. Go to anthonypazziali.com or go to my profile. When I do the podcast, I'm doing it. I'm live streaming on a couple of mediums. I'm on Facebook right here. I'm on Twitter right here. And I'm on YouTube right here. So all you have to do is go to my profile, go to anthonypazziali.com or go to whatever podcast place you like to listen to your podcast and just put in Spazzing Out. SPAZ_NOUT. You'll be able to find me. So when you want to listen to America's podcast, you can listen to it just about any time. I have over 100 episodes. 100 episodes of America's podcast. It's great. I hope you like it. I hope you go back and listen if you haven't heard all the podcasts and enjoy. If you're on Facebook, share this live feed. Like me on Facebook or follow me. If you're watching right now on Twitter, I don't know if you could share this or not. Retweet it, I guess. You could retweet it. Follow me. YouTube. Listen, YouTube peeps, subscribe to my YouTube page. My goal is to get to I got to get to 1,000 followers on YouTube so that I don't have to use my computer and I can do it on my phone. And once you get to a certain amount of hours, you actually stop monetizing YouTube. We're gonna work on that because, of course, the social media app that we will. You know what? I should just the app the name we will not. What do they say when you don't want to say someone's name, right? The name we shall not mention. That app that we shall not mention on my program because they disowned me. They kicked me out. They discarded me after 6 months of hard work. Not only did they discard me, I had about $150 in cash. It was like, man, it's more like 130 something. I had $130 sitting in the queue. They kept the money. They kept the money from people donating during my live feed. They kept the money. So this douchebag social media, this garbage social media that I worked my ass on for, and I got about 100,000 followers on it, and I had 10 plus videos that had more than 1 million views, and I was doing great, and I was kicking butt, and I really liked it. They kicked me to the curb, and they kept the money. So F them. The social media. You know what? For those of you who don't know, I got kicked off TikTok, and I don't want to talk about it, and I don't want to. We're not even going to talk about TikTok on this show anymore. I'm just pissed because they won't give me my money back. I tried getting it back today. They said no. Garbage. It's part of their stupid rules. They get to keep the buck 36 or something like that. So fine, whatever. You wasted people's money. You guys are a bunch of scumbags. Now, podcast is late tonight because I was running late. Little bit of spilt milk in terms of I got out of work late. I'm doing a job right now. It's up in Loudon, New Hampshire. It's about an hour and a half from where I live. So by the time I got home, I had to pick up my daughter. I got my daughter just about 5 o'clock. After I got my daughter, I had to come home. Got home about 6 o'clock, and I had to take my son home. Yes, home. I take my son home. My house is home, and his mom's house is home. People give me crap about that. They're always like, "Oh, kid, why do you call his mom's house his home?" Because it's his home, dude. I'm not one of those bitch ass I'm not one of those bitch ass dads that's all like, you call it my house is your home. Not, bro. You're home. You live with your mom. It's home. You with me? It's home. Well, I don't worry about that kind of crap. All right. Honestly, I could care less if my kid called me dad. I know I'm his father. I'm not a bitch like that. I'm not a pussy. I'm not a wine box where I need someone to tell me, or I need my kid to be like, oh, Dad, your house is home. No, I'm very secure in myself. I don't need that crap. I don't really care. So I took him home. I don't go all the way. I meet halfway. So I met somewhere down on Route 24 because they're heading towards Rhode Island. They don't live in Rhode Island. Relax, you people about there. Well, Rhode Island's on the ban list. They don't live in Rhode Island. They're close to Rhode Island. They live in Rehoboth. So anyways, we meet halfway. I have to come back up here and, boom, I get home. It's time to do the podcast. And it's a problem right now for me because I wanted to get the podcast done earlier. As you guys know, the podcast sometimes interferes with family time. We have less family time here in the Pazziali household because Dad is a workaholic. Dad's up 5 a.m, works till 6 o'clock at night, comes downstairs, does his podcast. But Mom, Kaylee, is also a workaholic. She works very hard. She loves to work. She's continuously working, whether she's being a homemaker, which it's a job. Homemaker's a job. It is. So whether she's you see how I mean that. So Kaylee works. She comes home. She cooks. She cleans. Takes care of the kids. It's a tough thing, and she holds down a job, and I appreciate the fact that she does that. We love her very much, but it becomes a pain in the butt for the podcast because, surprise, surprise, she would actually like to spend time with me. I'm not a very romantic person, and I'm like, I'm very like, I got to work. I got to get the podcast done, but she wants to spend time with me, and I want to spend time with her and my kids, maybe just my wife. My kids, I think I could do without, honestly. I love my kids to death, but I'm definitely one of those parents that's like, man, imagine what life would be like if you didn't have kids. Could you just imagine if you didn't have kids? I don't know, like, where along the line people like your dad or your mom beat it into your head that you got to have kids. They're like, my dad was like crazy about it. My father, great man, Stan Pazziali, but my father was absolutely obsessed. He was like, you guys don't have kids yet. You got to have kids. You're ruining the name. The Pazziali name's not going to live on. And not to mention the fact that he felt that we all should have had like 5 kids, right? So I should have 5 kids. My brother Mike, 5 kids. So that would be 10. Stan, 5 kids. That's 15. Jesse, 5 kids. That's 20. Jamie, 5 kids. So this dude wanted, hear that out. This dude wanted 25 grandkids. It's insanity. And absolutely insane. Could you imagine if you had 25 grandkids? Oh, 25. Nuts. But he was obsessed with us. I think all parents are obsessed with that. Not me. I'm going to tell my kids, I'm going to say, whoa. You don't want to have kids. The second you have kids, it's over. Done. It's all over. When you have kids, your life ends. You can't do anything. You can't, nothing. You can't go to the store without bringing your kids. You can't go to the bathroom without bringing your kids. You can't do your podcast without your kids being there. You can't do a single thing. I love my kids, and I can't imagine my life without them. Anything ever happened to them, I'd be devastated. If somebody touched my daughter, bro, I'll rip your head off. Honestly, like 100%. I was watching that show or the movie Bombshell last night about that dude, Roger Ailes. I don't know if his last name's Ailes or not, but whatever. The guy, he was the CEO of Fox News, and he was taking advantage of the women. And I was like, if this dude ever did that to my daughter, I'd kill him. I will kill you. I don't care. They can use this in court. Here, let's take the snippet from my podcast at about 9 minutes and 30 seconds into my podcast on, what's today? Is it August 10th? Anthony Pazziali says, premeditated, okay, that if you touch and hurt his daughter in that fashion, he is going to kill you. Yes, bro, I'm not one of those bitches that won't do something, bro. You touch my daughter, listen, you do something to my kid, Nariam, I'll probably be like, he's a man, he can handle it himself. But if you touch my daughter in that way, there's going to be problems. There is going to be major problems. I don't know how I even got to that point. But anyways, life would be a lot easier. And someone says, I love my kid, but facts, brothers. I love them, but like literally. So like, here's an example. This weekend, I'm at my brother's. Well, I'm not at my brother's house. I'm at his in-laws' house. But they're having the party for the baptism, which sucked because I had to bring money. But what sucked more is I had to bring my kids, and then I had to pace myself. Kaylee was working, so I didn't have a designated driver. Nariam's not old enough to drive. Presley's 5 years old. So I have to pace myself while everybody else is having a good time. Here I am on typically what I do when I have my kids at a cookout or a party or a family event is definitely a party event. When I have my kids at one of these events, I limit myself to the amount of alcohol that I will drink. Typically, I have a 4-drink minimum, but I also have to have been there for 5 hours. So I will drink 4 drinks over 5 hours, and that'll be it. And then if I feel like I've had too much, I'll stop drinking, and I try to wait about 2 hours before I drive. Because I love my kids, but it sucks because everybody else is getting hammered, and you're like, nah, I'm good. No, I gotta take my kids home. Everybody else is like, oh, I didn't bring my wife's taking my kids, or I gotta drive her. My brother Jamie's laughing at me. He's like, kid, I'm not driving. And forget it. Uncle Mike was 3 sheets to the wind, so he definitely wasn't driving. No big deal. Anyways, I don't know how we got on this. Oh, we got on this because I was driving my son home. Don't get a DUI. Nah, man, I don't drink and drive. Literally, I'm sober. I think I would pass the test. I have 4 drinks over 5 hours. Honestly, I think I would pass the test. I would 100% fine. I'm not trying to do anything to endanger my kids, but that's the whole point. Your kids, right? They're a hassle, and anybody who says that your kid's not a hassle is a liar. You're garbage. Right there. That's straight up. This is why this is America's podcast, because that's how America feels. We love our kids, but they're a hassle. If we didn't think they were a hassle, then we wouldn't hire babysitters. We wouldn't hire nannies. I can't afford a nanny. And we wouldn't hire people to watch our kids or dump our kids off with our parents. Or we wouldn't want breaks from our kids and have my wife wouldn't need to go somewhere, get away from the kids. I wouldn't need to go somewhere to get away from the kids. They're a hassle. Right up there with dogs. Dogs are probably the biggest hassle of all time because you don't actually have to have a dog, right? You get someone pregnant, you're stuck with the kid. The dog, you don't have to. That's like a conscious decision to take on responsibility. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. People that want dogs, you're morons. I can't understand why you're like, oh, let me get up 5 a.m. and walk my dog. Let me make sure my dog gets walked at noon. Let me walk my dog when I get home from work. Let me feed this thing. What are you, nuts? Bonkers. So kids are quite the same. Now, Nariam is at that age where we're in between him staying home, and we have been letting him stay home for kind of maybe like he gets to stay by himself for like 2 or 3 hours or something like that, just to see where he's at. Today he did pretty good. Did pretty good for himself. He didn't do some of the stuff that I wanted him to do, and we had a conversation about that. Hopefully he'll do it next week. And my simple answer to that is, bro, if you can't make your own bed, then you're not old enough to be home alone. Plain and simple. He made the bed immediately when I said that to him. But the point of the matter is you got to do it while I'm not here because I asked you to do it. And that's like one of those things that's crazy to do because I think making your bed stupid. I really do. I think making your bed, like everybody likes to use that, the military guy that talks about making his bed like, oh, it's the small things. Like, bro, you know what? Making your bed's a time suck. I get up in the morning and I got to make my bed, waste about 10 minutes of my day to put the bed together. And then when I get home, I mess it up. Now, I can understand cleaning the sheets because you want some nice clean sheets, but I don't really care if you make the bed, dude. I don't. But I make my son make the bed because if I don't, then I take heat because, his mom and his stepmom, they want that shit done. So to get it done. But I'm like, I'm man, I don't make beds, but whatever. Long and short of it, I love my kids, but they're a hassle. And if you tell me they're not a hassle, then you're a liar. Plain, that's it. Like straight up, you're full of crap. All right. Since we're talking about kids, let's talk about back to school again, because back to school is becoming a major problem in my household. And I'm guessing it's a major problem in your household. Now, both Revere and Rehoboth Public Schools have decided that they're going to be homeschooling. They've decided that remote is what they're calling it. Remote schooling. So both kids are going to be doing remote schooling. How the fuck are we supposed to handle that? That's what I want to know. How are we supposed to deal with that? I have to work. Kaylee works. How am I supposed to make sure? Like, dude, here's my beef with it. Forget about remote schooling. How about no school? 1 full year, no school. 1 year. What is the big deal? I'm telling you that my 5-year-old daughter will not even remember the fact that she didn't have school for a year. And my 12-year-old son would be happier than a pig in shit if he didn't have school for the year. So I say, forget about school. No school, no remote school learning. Why? Because it's a pain in the ass. I don't want to have to deal with my kids learning remotely. My wife doesn't want to deal with the kids learning remotely. The kids don't like to do it. It's a pain in the butt. It sucks. They don't want to sit in front of a computer. I don't want to fight with my daughter. I don't want to fight with my son. I want to work. I have to make money. I have a job. I don't have one of those jobs where you can stay home and make loot. At least not yet. Maybe if this podcast picks up, maybe if some YouTube people subscribe to my page, maybe if more people listen to the podcast. By the way, the podcast is about to reach its milestone of I know. Listen, it's not a lot. Sorry. It's going to reach like 20,000 downloads. I know it's not a lot, but considering the as a whole, because it's typically like 100 downloads an episode or something like that. You would think that it'd be 100,000, but because when I first started the podcast, nobody downloaded it. But now it's just about to break that 20,000 mark, which is pretty cool. Anyways, homeschooling's a nightmare, and it's a nightmare for all of us. I can't get out of work. I own my own business, right? I have a junk removal company. I have to be there. I have currently I'm loading the trucks. I don't have any employees that work for me anymore. Before COVID started, I had 10 employees. They no longer work because I can't have them work. And I had to sell 3 of my trucks. So I only have 2 trucks and I have to run them. I got to physically be there to do the work or I don't get paid. And Kaylee's the same way. Kaylee works at Floyd's Barbershop. She works like 5 days a week or 5 or 6 actually. So she works a ton. She's got to actually be there to make money. And then what? Now what they're talking about, Nariam's mom, Kaylee, they're talking about hiring tutors. What? Oh, I'm not making money. What? Hire tutors? Are you guys insane? Do you know how much money it would cost to hire a tutor? I'm like, what? So I'm trying to get Kaylee's mom to come back. I'm like, hey, Ann, I need you to come back. You need to school my daughter, and I'll give her like $20 a day. I mean, Jesus Christ, you can live in my house. I'll give you $100 a week. You're done. You don't have to pay to live here. That's it. I'll give you $100 a week. You could do my daughter, and then I got to figure out my son. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with my son. I think he's old enough to take care of it himself, but nobody else believes me, and that's a huge problem because if we don't force him to do it himself, he's never going to do it himself. Honestly, but the main point here, the main point, right? The main frigging point, they should not have school this year. Just cancel it. If you're not going to have the kids in class, cancel it for the year. 1 effing year is not a big deal. Cancel it. The parents can't do it. The working class man who has 5 kids, dude, I got 2 kids, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Imagine if I lived up to my dad's standards and I had 5. What the F in the world would I do if I had 5 kids? No school this year. Plain and simple. It's an extended summer. Summer daycare is cheaper than school daycare. Like summer daycare, I pay some nitwit, please, you know what? I didn't mean that because if Nicole's listening, honey, I didn't mean to say that. Nicole babysits my daughter. She's amazing. And she does it for short dough, and she's actually awesome. Auntie Nicole is the best. Sorry, I'm honestly apologizing if she watches this because she is great. What I meant is like a babysitter. Like if you were paying like some 18-year-old girl to watch your daughter for a couple hours, it's less expensive, right? And Nicole can watch my kid and 3 other kids, and she can make decent money, but she doesn't have to deal with the schooling part of it. You get what I'm saying? But now what am I supposed to do? Supposed to pay like a tutor $100 for the day, and then what? I don't make it up. Forget it, kid. Forget it. Forget it, guy. $500 a week. You got $2,000 a month, so your kid can make? Nope. Hell no. Cancel school or pay for it. Cancel school, or I pay taxes. You pay for every damn kid in the state to have a tutor, or cancel it. It's 1 year. 1 effing year. End it. I'm telling you, they won't mind, and they won't know the difference. If anything, it'll be better for them because they'll get 1 more year maturity underneath their belt, and they'll get 1 year at home. Big effing deal. Let them stay home for 1 year. Not a big deal. And if they're old enough to work, 16 plus, make them do work study programs. Okay? So fine. Hey, listen, you go to a trade school, you're going to be working in your trade for 1 year straight. That's it. You're going to work for a plumber. You're going to work for a carpenter. If you're 16, I don't know if the age is 16 to work. If you're 16 plus, you're getting a job. That's it. You're going to work 30 hours a week. What's part-time? 20 hours a week. That's going to be your school. 20 hours a week. You're going to work 5 hours a day, 25 hours. Okay? And you'll learn you'll learn hard knocks school. You'll get an education on the street. You get an education working at McDonald's. You'll learn about money. You learn about responsibility, about being on time, about getting your work done. And you know what you really learn? You learn about the fact that in the real world, no one gives a fuck. No one gives a shit. If you don't have your stuff on time, you get fired. In the real world, like in school, and you're like, oh, I didn't do my paper, I was sick. Teacher's like, oh, I'll give you an A. At McDonald's, Papagino's, you're working at the grocery store, the manager doesn't give a shit. The manager's like, yeah, bro, I don't care. You broke eggs, you're fired. You broke eggs, you're fired. You broke eggs, you're fired. That would be real school. I think that would be great. I think that's a pretty good alternative. So here is my suggestion. Again, I have to be the father of America. I have to father all children and adults here in the United States of America, and I have to make people understand that no way in hell are parents going to be able to work and homeschool their kids. It's not happening. It just isn't. People need to work. Most American families, the mother and the father both work. Neither of them, none of these families can afford to hire a tutor. That's why their kids go to public schools. That's why they pay taxes. We pay taxes so that you guys can get the babysitters to watch our kids so that we can make money. Now that you're getting rid of the babysitters and forcing us to be the babysitters to our kids, you expect us to make a living and teach our kids. It's not happening. Now, I don't really care so much about a handout. I don't want a handout. What I want is no school for 1 year. Plain and simple. It is a pandemic. It is a special time in United States history. So for 1 effing year, no school. No biggie. My 5-year-old's not going to miss it. And my 12-year-old would probably be better off anyways, taking 1 year off and getting 1 year more educated. And then you can do shit with your kids that you normally do. For example, my daughter does ABC Mouse. I know it's not like going to school, but she does learning on it, right? My son, we make him read. Does he read a lot? No, but I force him to read this book that I've been reading since I was 20 years old, and I make him read. We do educational stuff. Yeah, he does way more fun things like playing video games, and Presley does too, but no big deal. Anybody that's old enough to work can work, and that's where they'll learn. Anyone that's a kid, you get to be a kid for an extended period of time for 1 freaking year. Enjoy, because mom and dad have to work and they have to make money. And the schools and the government, they can't figure it out. They think that, think about this. They're dumping the kids at home. They're dumping the kids at home, and they want you to go to work. How are you going to do that? I'll tell you this right now. My kids aren't going to do it. I know they're not. They'll do it for like a week, and then they're out. See you later. My daughter will be at work with me or not at a tutor. Hell no, because I don't got that kind of money. Or she will be at a sitter's house 2 weeks after school starts. I guarantee it. 2 weeks after school starts with my son, done. Forget it. Out. He's out. He's out for the year. I guarantee it. It's stupid. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life that they think that let me explain this to you. All of the United States, the workforce is based off their kids going to school. Do you understand that? The amount of money, right? The $15 to $20 an hour that people make that on average, right? That the average person makes, his salary is based on the fact that you guys will be watching our kids. That's why we can work for short money. That's why there's so many American families that can work for $15 to $20 an hour or $25 an hour or $30 an hour because you people babysit our kids. Now you're taking the babysitter away and we have to find someone to babysit our kids and it's going to cost $500 a week. No one has $500 a week. I'll figure it out because I'm going to have to come up with it and I'm going to bitch every single night on this podcast about it. I got to come up with the name for it because I'm going to bitch about it. I'm going to be steaming the whole, and they're talking about going back to school in November. November. They're done. So for the entire year, the whole school year, I got to figure out a way to pay to have someone watch and teach my kids. And it's going to cost, forget it, bro. I won't even be doing the podcast. I already said, I was like, I'm going to have to go get a part-time job. Honestly, I have to take junk during the day, and then I'll go work for Amazon. It's right down the street. I'm going to be driving truck for Amazon or loading things because they just opened the place in Revere. Or I'll be at Home Depot. I'll be banging out the podcast live from aisle 6 at Home Depot with some dude walking by like, you know where the nails are? No, bro, I don't know where the nails are. What do you mean you don't know? I don't know. They're in the nail aisle. Figure it out. That's great. All right, see you later. Bye. Ridiculous. And honestly, it is. And I'll tell you, I'll figure it out. Listen, I will. I'll absolutely, yeah. I don't want to hear about the $600 a week because I work. Someone just said that you make the $600 a week. I'm a working man. I don't take that money. I'm not on unemployment. I work my ass off. My business is still open, and I plan on continuing to work. But the fact that I can work is based on my kids going back to school. I think it's garbage. No, you said no, read. All right, sorry. It's tough for me to read when I'm doing the podcast. So if you want to pop it back up, here, I'll scroll it back down. Hold on, everybody. It says, yeah, they are giving the unemployment $600 a week. What they get for what? Yeah, they're giving unemployed $600 a week plus what? Oh, yeah. All right. Yes. So sorry. She was on my side. You guys all know how I feel. Drives me absolutely bonkers that people are getting free money. So now check this out. The people who are getting free, oh my God, this is going to make me even more pissed off. The people who are home on unemployment that are getting the free money now going to get an extra $400 a week, right? They're going to homeschool their damn kids and, right? They're going to homeschool their kids, get paid the $400 to stay home, plus their unemployment check. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to have to pay $500 to watch my damn kid. Think about that. It's garbage. They don't want you to work. That's it. I'm telling you, the government does not want you to work. They want you to be dependent on them. They want you to stay home. They want to give you money. They want you to vote for who they want you to vote for, and they're sticking it to you. They're sticking it to you. What now? Now no one's going back to work. I didn't even think of that. Nobody is going to go back to work. Why would you go back to work now? You're getting $400 a week, plus your state unemployment, and now your kid's not going to school? You're staying home. That's it. You're home. These people are home. We just created 20 million plus people definitely aren't going back to work because they can't, because the babysitter's not back to work. It's garbage. So I call for a complete year. I call for the complete year, no school. That's what I call for. It's burns me and is disgusting to me that I work my ass off and people make more money than me on unemployment because they're getting that extra money. Now the unemployment benefits have been extended for 5 weeks at $400 a week, plus what they're getting from the state. It will get extended again. They will get the stimulus check, which I do not qualify for. I don't get the stimulus check. So now I won't get the stimulus check. I won't get the unemployment money. And then I'll get stiffed with the fucking bill to watch my kids while some lazy ass piece of shit is going to be home getting $400 a week plus their unemployment, and they're watching their kids and they don't have to pay for it. Drives me absolutely bonkers. Nuts. It's ridiculous. No school for the year. Listen, I can make that decision because I'm the dad. I can say, hey, my kid's not going to school, but I can't win that battle with their moms. I tried. I got told no. It is what it is. I'm not going to fight that fight. They want the kids to go to school, fine. The kids can go to school, but I'm not for it. I already said it. The best thing we can do is not have the kids go to school this year. It's 1 year. Big deal. What? No. Yes, I'm saying no school for a year. Someone's saying what? Someone just asked me a question. What? No school? There is school at where I live. My son lives in Rehoboth, Massachusetts. My daughter lives in Revere, Massachusetts, which is where I live. Okay. Revere has decided remote schooling. So I can't do remote schooling. I have to work. My son's school has decided remote schooling. I can't do remote schooling. I have to work. I have a job. I'm not on unemployment. I'm not home collecting $600. I have a job. J-O-B. I have a job. A job. I work. I know that's new to some people. I know that's something that people don't understand what the fuck a job is, but I have one. And I need to work. So the babysitters will not be back at school. So I say no school this year. No school because my kids aren't going to do it. My kids aren't going to sit in front of a computer. They're going to fight with their moms. And you guess what happens when they fight with their moms? Guess what happens when the kids fight with their moms? Guess what happens when the moms work all day and then they got to deal with the kid stuff? They come, they give me heat and they give me a problem. And I don't want problems. I want no problems. I want no school. Done. Simple. This year, no school. They should cancel school for the fucking year unless they can figure out a way to have someone else teach my kids. Simple. Done. There. I just solved the whole problem with higher education, lower education, kindergarten for the entire year. 1 year, no school. And the way you do it, if you go to a trade school, you get a job working in your trade. That's it. Boom, you go to work. If you're 16 and older and you can work, you go to work for 25 hours a week. That is your schooling. You learn you learn skills that you need. Bro, you'll learn more skills at a job than you would ever learn going to school. You'll learn real life skills. So you're 16 plus, you go to work. They find you a job. McDonald's, Papagino's, Demoulas, a warehouse, whatever it is. You work for 25 hours. That's school for the week. Now you've learned. Boom. You do that for the whole year. Anybody that can't get a job, you're done. That's it, man. You get extended summer and enjoy being a kid. That's it. You're 15. It's your last year being a kid. Enjoy. Have a great year off. No big deal. You'll do 10th grade over next year. You'll be that much more mature. Enjoy. You're welcome. My 5-year-old's never going to remember. My 5-year-old. But no, what will happen? This is what will happen. What will happen? My kids will go to school. I will have to find a way to pay for them to be taken care of, and it's not going to be cheap. I guesstimate that it's going to be somewhere between $400 and $500 a week, which is insane. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to come up with an extra $2,000 a month, and I will, because that's the type of dude I am. I'll figure it out, right? But all the while, the lazies, the mutants, the bums that don't want to work will stay home and they will teach their kids, and the government will pay them $400 a week to do it. Plus their unemployment check. They'll make like $1,000 a week while I'm losing $1,000 a week. It drives me bonkers. Maybe I'll just quit. You know what? Maybe I'll go on unemployment. No, I won't, because I'm not a bitch. Drives me nuts. All right. One other thing I want to talk about, and then I got to end this, man. Wow, man, that was a long ass rant, huh? Hold on. Are we running out of time? All right, no, we're only half hour in. All right, last one, and then we'll move on. I gotta end the podcast early tonight because I started late tonight. All right, guys. So I apologize. It just is what it is. One thing that I saw, I'm losing my voice, man. I haven't lost my voice in a while. That's how you know I'm pissed off. So I saw this story in the news, and I just wanted to point it out because it was ridiculous. So first off, did you guys see the story about the Mayflower 2? Mayflower 2, not the original Mayflower, the Mayflower 2, one that was made like 50 or 60 years ago or something like that, maybe a little bit longer. A replica of the Mayflower. Not let me stress this. Not the real Mayflower, not the original Mayflower that came over, I don't know, 16 something. I don't know my dates. I don't really care. I could Google it. You Google it. Whenever the Mayflower originally came over, that Mayflower is now gone. We have the Mayflower 2, which is a replica of the original one. It was made in like 1950 something, right? That thing is in Plymouth. It's docked in Plymouth, and it's a museum. Okay, and this is very important for this story. Okay, now the Mayflower 2 has been gone for almost 3 years. It's been down in Connecticut. It's been getting refurbished. Now, please understand, my mind is going to explode, or my brain, like literally, I can't understand why, but they spent $11.2 million refurbishing this boat. I don't get it. First off, the thing isn't even that big, right? If you've ever been to the boat, it's not even that big. I think it's like a 30-foot, maybe it's a foot, maybe it's bigger, dude. But I like, let's say it's a 50-foot sailboat, okay? I'm pretty sure you could just build a brand new one for less than $11 million. I'm guessing you could have just built a brand, right? Definitely. But so whatever. No, it's not whatever. Bro, they just spent $11 million on refurbishing a boat that's not the original boat. It's not like it was the Constitution, right? It's not the boat, the Constitution, the warship. It's not like it's the actual Mayflower. It's not the one they sealed herein. It's a replica, and they just dropped $11 million on making it, on refurbishing it. Biggest waste. I don't know. This is what happens in government, and this is why we're always bankrupt, and why we're always trying to chase money. The government gives $11 million to fix a ship that is a fake ship. Just build another fake ship for less money. I'm telling you that they don't cost $1 million to make. I don't care. I don't care. I don't make boats. They fucking don't. They don't. They don't. They don't. Bro, maybe, okay, let's just say in a crazy world it would cost $5 million to make it. You'd still save $6 million. $11 million? You got to take it like, let me just say this. You overpaid. You overpaid. I don't know who is in charge of the Historic Society or the people that give money to fix these boats. You got fucked. You paid $11 million to have a replica ship, but you probably could have built a fleet. You probably could have built 11 Mayflowers, put the other 10 of them away in a warehouse, and when the one that you have in the water breaks down, throw it in the trash, take another one out. Throw it in the trash, take another one out. Throw it in the trash, take another one out. You dusted $11 million. It burns me. And you want to know why it really burns me? It really comes down to spilt milk many years ago. If you're not from Massachusetts, and a lot of people that listen to the podcast are not, Massachusetts has a ton of historical landmarks. Probably the worst historical landmarks of all time. One of the worst is Plymouth Rock. It's literally a rock, like legit. And there's like a gazebo around it. And people, hundreds of thousands of millions of people every year, they go and they're like, oh, look at, it's the rock. It's probably not even the fucking rock, dude. It's ridiculous. It's a joke. Anyways, of course, I'm a family man, and we go on a family trip. Let's go. Hey, let's go to Plymouth Rock. Woo! Yeah, can't wait. Anyways, we go, and this is obviously more than 3 years ago. There's the Mayflower. I actually got excited. I was like, oh, dude, the Mayflower? This is badass. I was pumped. I'm like, the Mayflower, whew, let's do it. It's me, Nariam, Kaylee, and I want to say it was Kaylee's mom. I don't know if Presley was alive yet. You know what? Maybe she was. And I was pumped up. But it was expensive too, dude. It was like $75 to get everybody on the boat. If I remember correctly, it was almost 80, right? And I'm all fired up. I can't wait to get on the boat because I love history. I love it. I really do. Washington, D.C. is one of my favorite places to go, man. I love Americana, and I love American history, and I love going to places like that are cool, not crappy-ass rocks that are surrounded by a gazebo. So, anyways, I get to the end of the pier. I get inside, and, bro, right outside the boat, like you get on, and it says it, the Mayflower 2. I'm like, the Mayflower 2? And here I am. I'm naive. I'm like, oh, they had 2 of them? I'm like, wow, that's pretty. Where's the other one? Where's the first one? I thought like 2, as in this was one of the original boats, and they had the Mayflower and the Mayflower 2, and they both came over at 1600. I'm like, this is badass. Awesome. I can't wait to get on. I start reading it. I'm like, wait a second. This thing was built in 1950, 52, I think. I'm like, what? I'm like, wait a second. I just paid $80 to get on a freaking boat that's not even the original. Wait, I just paid $80 to walk around a boat that's not the boat? You charging me $80 so that I can usher my family to this 60-foot or 40-foot fucking boat, and it's not even the real boat. Pissed. So disappointed. Never go again. And anybody that goes, I tell them straight up, I'm like, bro, it's not the boat. It's not the boat. It's not the boat. Not the boat. It's a fake-ass boat. It should be free. Should be free. Or like $5. And they should tell you up front. Like right up front, like, hey, this ain't the boat. This is not the boat. It's a fake boat. So anyways, I'm pissed off about that, about the fact that it's a fake-ass boat. And now I'm even more pissed off that they just took $11 million. $11 million. $11 million to refurbish the fake boat. I'm guessing they could have built 11 fake boats for $11 million. All right. That's a little bit of spilt milk. All right, guys, that's going to do it for tonight. I got to bounce out. It's already 9:30, dude. I got to get upstairs. I got to go spend some time with my family. If I'm dead as it is. It's hot as balls down here. I'm going to get in trouble. We'll pick it up tomorrow, right? I'll see you guys tomorrow. So, as always, subscribe to my podcast. It's America's podcast now. Spazzing Out, America's podcast. It's your podcast. Subscribe to it. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on YouTube. No, YouTube's over here. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter. But most importantly, subscribe to the podcast. This is what we do. The whole purpose of doing the live stream is I'm recording my podcast as we do the live stream. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for listening to Spazzing Out, America's podcast. I like how that sounds. It rings. America's podcast. All right. All right. Twitter peeps. Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Have a good night. Bye. And we'll stop that. And YouTube, guys, thank you so much. Have a good one. Make sure you subscribe to my page. Bye. And Facebook, guys,